The narrow streets of Tondo, Manila, were still wet from last night's rain. Morning sunlight peeked through torn curtains of rusty shanties, touching faces of children who had already begun another day of survival. Among them was Miguel Santos, a 14-year-old boy with a voice that could melt even the coldest heart, but hardly anyone had ever truly heard it. Every morning, Miguel would wake before sunrise, his hands smelling of detergent and sheep soap, as he helped his mother wash clothes for the neighborhood, to earn a few pesos his father had left years ago, chasing dreams that never came true, and his mother, a gentle woman with weary eyes, carried the family's hope on her shoulders. Miguel didn't complain. He worked, smiled, and sometimes hummed songs while scrubbing clothes. Music was his secret friend, a place where pain became melody. He learned songs by listening to the old transistor radio near the market, especially his favorite, Hotel California by the Eagles. He didn't understand all the words, but something in that song made him feel free, like maybe, one day, there was a place waiting for him beyond those crowded alleys and broken rooftops. One afternoon, while helping his mother at the laundry, a group of kids passed by carrying a small speaker. They were talking about Philippines Got Talent auditions being held downtown. Miguel's heart skipped. "Ma," he said softly, "what if I try? Maybe I can sing there." His mother smiled sadly, wiping sweat from her forehead. "Miguel, those shows are for rich people with nice clothes and money for fare. We don't even have enough for dinner tonight." Miguel nodded, hiding his disappointment. But that night, when his mother fell asleep, he stepped outside under the dim street light and sang softly to himself. On the dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, a tricycle driver parked nearby stopped to listen. The voice coming from this skinny boy with torn slippers and a shy smile didn't sound ordinary. It was raw. Pure. Beautiful. "You sing like an angel, kid," the driver said. "You should be on TV." Miguel smiled faintly. Maybe one day. Days passed, and the thought of the audition wouldn't leave his mind. On the morning of the auditions, he made a decision that would change everything. He took a deep breath, put on his school uniform, the only decent clothes he had, and told his mother he was going to help a friend. Then he ran. He ran through narrow streets, past jeepneys and vendors, until he reached the bus station. He begged the driver to let him ride for free. The driver looked at his hopeful face, sighed, and waved him in. "Go, boy. Make your mama proud." At the venue, hundreds of people waited, all dressed nicely, some with makeup, some with fancy instruments. Miguel stood quietly in the corner, clutching a folded piece of paper, where he had written Hotel California. When his turn came, one of the producers frowned. "You don't have a track?" Miguel shook his head. "No, sir. I can sing without it." They hesitated, then nodded. "Okay. Let's see what you've got." The stage was enormous. Bright lights blinded him. The judges sat behind their golden table, looking at him curiously. One whispered, "He looks nervous." Miguel took a deep breath. His heart pounded. He thought of his mother, her tired smile, her calloused hands. And then, he began, "On the dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair." The first few lines were shaky. But then his voice found its home, strong, haunting, filled with emotion beyond his years. Every note carried the story of his life, hunger, hope, love, loss, all wrapped in melody. The crowd grew silent. The judges leaned in. "By the time he reached, you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave." The entire hall was on their feet. Miguel finished, eyes closed, breath trembling. When he opened them, he saw tears on faces of strangers. Then, one of the judges, a famous singer, stood up, walked toward the buzzer, and slammed her hand down. Golden buzzer. Golden confetti exploded from above. Miguel froze. His hands shook. He didn't understand what was happening, until he saw the judge walking toward him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You don't just sing, Miguel," she said softly. "You heal. You reminded us why music exists." The crowd erupted in cheers. "Miguel. Miguel." He knelt, overwhelmed. For a boy who had nothing, this was everything. Later that night, Miguel returned home with a golden ticket in his hand. His mother was sitting by the small kerosene lamp, worrying. When she saw him, she frowned. "Miguel, where were you?" "I was so." He held out the ticket. "I did it." She stared, confused, then read the paper, her hands trembling. Tears filled her eyes. "Oh my boy." She hugged him tightly, crying. "I told you the world is hard, but you showed me it can still be kind." In the following weeks, Miguel became a sensation. Videos of his audition spread like wildfire. Millions watched, crying, cheering, sharing. The boy from Tondo had become a symbol of hope. During the finals, when asked what he would do if he won, Miguel said softly, "I just want to build my mom a house, where the roof doesn't leak when it rains, and help other kids like me sing their dreams." He didn't win first place, but he won hearts around the world. Sponsors reached out, a foundation offered to fund his education, and his mother no longer had to wash clothes to survive. But Miguel never forgot where he came from. Every Sunday, he returned to the same narrow alley in Tondo, singing for the kids there, reminding them that dreams, like signs, don't belong to the rich. They belong to those brave enough to believe. And so, the boy who once sang Hotel California under a flickering streetlight became the voice of hope for an entire nation. If you ever find yourself lost, tired, or unheard, remember Miguel's story. Sometimes, all it takes is a song, a dream, and a heart.